Hey guys! Today's movie starts with a similar clip to the first part of the movie. Police trying to arrest a woman. And at this moment an agent comes and tells the lieutenant of the police that all the units he sent will be killed now. Going back to the units, the woman they tried to arrest looked like Trinity. After a fight she kills them all. Then she starts running while the agents chase her. Meanwhile, Captain Bugs, a hacker who sneaks into the Matrix without the permission of her general, was watching the scene play out, and she is aware that this has happened before. But something is different and she realized that all this is just a trap. Before she escapes, an agent comes and starts fighting her. Then he orders the other agent to kill her. She started running and jumping from a building to another. Then she found a shop and tries to hide in it. The agents come after her, and before getting arrested, the first agent she fought with him show up and save her. After talking with him, Bugs realizes that this agent is a computer program version of Morpheus. Bugs tells him that Neo is not dead, he is still alive, she saw him. And she needs to free him from a new version of the Matrix. Then she gives Morpheus the red pill so they can extract his information. Meanwhile, in the new version of the Matrix, Thomas Anderson is now a famous video game designer. His most famous game is called The Matrix. He made 3 world-renowned games that are recreations of Anderson's fragmented memories of the original Matrix movies. While he was taking a coffee with his friend, a married woman named Tiffany comes in. He introduced himself to her, then she left with her husband and 2 children. Going back to his office, Neo finds out that something is going wrong with his game. Before solving the problem, his boss Smith called him. While he was talking, Neo start remembering Agent Smith. He asks him if he is taking his medication regularly. Then he tells him that they need to make a 4th Matrix game. Neo later visits a psychiatrist who tells him that he has trouble distinguishing his game from reality and he suffers from psychotic episodes, that all because of his stressful job. But from the other side, he tells him, "You are better from the first time you come to me. After you tried to jump off a building thinking that you could fly." Neo go back to his daily routine life, and start developing the 4th Matrix game with his team. One day while he was working, a fire alarm started. While leaving he received a message on his phone from an unknown number, telling him to meet him in the bathroom if he needs answers to his questions. Neo go to the bathroom. He got surprised by Morpheus. At the beginning, he thought he was just dreaming, and all this is just an illusion. Morpheus offers him the red pill so he can wake up, but Neo refuses and tries to run away. A battle followed. Morpheus fights with many SWAT officers, then the boss of Neo comes and tried to shoot Neo in his head with a gun. Suddenly Neo wake up and found himself with the psychiatrist. He tells him what happened, but the psychiatrist answers him that all this is in your mind, just an illusion. If you don't believe me, we can visit your office now. And you will find nothing. Later on that night, Neo tries to jump again from a building to know if this is real or not. But before jumping, "Bugs, come and stop him," she tells him. That all what he is living now isn't real. And most of his friends here are just programs used to control him. The agents aren't like before. Now they use bots, skinned as normal people. After that, she shows him a bunny tattoo, and convinces him to follow her. They walk through a door onto a train in Tokyo. She introduces Sek to him, and tells him that now they are using a moving portal, instead of using cell phones, as they used in the past. They both met with Morpheus. They tell Neo that the machines kept him alive, but they don't know why. Also, the machine changed your digital self-image through a feedback system. This is why we couldn't find you easily. Morpheus then gives him the red and the blue pill to choose between, but this time Neo accepts and takes the red pill. Before they leave, the psychiatrists show up again and try to stop Neo from going. He tells him that this world is real, stay here. Meantime, SWAT officers discover where they are. They try to run into the previous train they come with, but this time the passengers go into a zombie mode and start attacking them. Neo and the team start fighting them, then they head into a bathroom and then jump into a small mirror as their exit point out of the Matrix. Bugs and Morpheus successfully manage to wake Neo up. Neo wakes up and finds himself in a womb-like pod in the real world, but this time, there is only one other pod in the area. Neo knows it must be Trinity, who is also trapped in the new Matrix. Before he can save her, he is taken away by machines. They take Neo to Bugs' ship. Bugs introduce Neo to her crew, all of whom revere him as a hero. They tell him everything that happened in his games, and in the first 3 movies, happened in real life. Also, it has been 60 years since he sacrificed himself to end the war between the humans and the Sentinels. And everything is different now. The humans work together with some of the machines, who call themselves Sentinels. However, not all of the machines are on the human side. Also, there was a machine civil war when resources grew scarce, and the Sentinels are still evils. Then he saw Morpheus there, and they tell him that programs can exist in the real world now, as nanomagnetic robots. Morpheus takes Neo again to the Matrix, and starts training him so he can remember all that he forget during the time spent in the new Matrix. They both fight, and after a few punches, Neo starts remembering and recovering his skills and abilities. Neo tells Bugs that he wants to save Trinity. Bugs tell him it will be extremely dangerous, however, I will help you. Bugs take Neo to the new human city, Io, to meet with his old friend Niobe, who has significantly aged. Niobe is now the general of the humans, who are working on ways to make life better in the post-apocalyptic world. She shows Neo the world they have made, and how they become able to grow up vegetables now. Niobe has apparently stopped trying to save humans from the Sentinels because she wants to maintain the peace in Io. Then she shows him a statue of Morpheus and tell him that he was elected leader after your death. A new power has spread, but he didn't believe the new power was a threat, because he thought you had saved them all for good. His denial led to his death and the destruction of Zion. When Neo tells Niobe that he is going to try to save Trinity, no matter what, she decides to imprison him, because she believes it will endanger the city. Bugs and her crew steal a ship and save Neo from his prison. Then they enter the new Matrix to find Trinity and set her free, while they were looking for her. They end up confronted with Agent Smith, a program and Neo's old nemesis, who was also Neo's boss in the new Matrix. Smith explains that he is trapped in this new Matrix too, which was designed by the Analyst, Neo's therapist. Smith wants to make a deal with Neo to help him get his freedom from the new designer of the Matrix. Meanwhile, the exiles join them. They all start fighting. Bugs and the crew against the exiles, and Neo fights with Agent Smith. Smith was very strong, and after a bloody battle, he almost kills Neo, but in the last second Neo managed to beat Agent Smith with his power. Then Neo finds Trinity and starts telling her that all this isn't real, and she has stuck in the Matrix. The psychiatrist show up and presses pause on the world and reveal his plans to Neo. Turns out that he's the analyst who helped to make the new Matrix. He also finds out that, by having both Neo and Trinity alive and plugged into the Matrix, his version of the Matrix will be vastly superior to what came before. In fact, his version is unlike the original architects. It is built on human fear and desire, fear of losing what they have and desire for things they do not have. This Matrix was therefore built on the relationship between Neo and Trinity in this simulation, as they are close enough to one each other, yet distant enough to be fearful of actually being with one another. Thanks to the new Matrix, the amount of energy being created by the humans who are plugged into the Matrix sustains the machines on the outside. However, the analyst explains that, when Neo and Trinity are kept apart, there's not enough energy created. Neo may have been the one in the original trilogy, but his powers are not at their fullest without Trinity. And the foundations of fear and desire in this new Matrix are why he's kept them both together, both in the Matrix and in the real world. But still distant enough not to reunite and break the Matrix once again. Because if they back together again, their powers would grow, and that would lead to people starting to unplug from the Matrix again. Like what happened after Neo's victory 60 years ago, and caused an energy crisis. Neo escapes the analyst's clutches. Back into the real world, they form a new plan to save Trinity. Niobe is reluctant at first, not wanting to disturb the peace she has created, but after meeting with Sati, who is a program that we previously seen as a young girl in the original trilogy, she accepts. Niobe realizes that Trinity is needed out of the Matrix to help the rest of mankind. Then they start the plan with the help of some friendly machines. Neo heads back into the Matrix to confront the analyst. They both agree that, if Trinity wants to get out of the Matrix, then the analyst should let them go, but if she wants to stay, Neo will plug himself back into the Matrix for good. They all meet at the coffee shop, then Trinity comes on her motorcycle. Trinity starts talking with Neo, and when she was about to leave with Neo, her husband Chad and the children walk in, and she decides to stay in the Matrix. Then, just as Neo's about to be plugged back in, Chad calls her Tiffany. Trinity snaps back, "My name is Trinity." Before Neo and Trinity are about to escape, the analyst hits pause once again and decides to shoot Trinity and rebuild the Matrix. However, the rogue agent Smith, now fully out of the Matrix's control, saves the day by hitting the analyst. Smith would rather be a free agent than let the analyst's Matrix continue using him. Neo and Trinity escape, but the analyst sets the population of the Matrix to swarm mode. A car chase ensues and the duo gets to a rooftop but finds themselves trapped by helicopters. They then decide to jump off the roof. Neo falls, he can't fly. But surprisingly, Trinity was able to fly. They both escape from the Matrix and wake up in the real world, together again. In the final scene of the movie, Neo and Trinity flying around the Matrix, and they meet the analyst at his house after getting a severe beating by Trinity. They promise him to start freeing people's minds and to